Greetings. Standing in front of you is Miss Minetle Makaba, and welcome to my Geography Grade 9 Mapwork class. Today we'll be talking about topographical maps. What is a topographical map? A topographical map is a detailed color map with a scale of 1:50,000. A topographical map is mapped from aerial vertical photographs. What is an aerial vertical photograph? An aerial vertical photograph is a photograph taken by an aeroplane up in the sky or a moving object up in the sky in 90 degrees to the ground. A topographic map is a detailed colored map which shows natural features and constructed features. So, how do you see natural features on a map? Natural features on a map are rivers, cultivated lands, and dams. Constructed features on a map are represented by schools, police stations, military area, cemetery, and etc. So, how do you see a topographic map? A topographic map has a title, a line scale, a reference list, and a scale of 1:50,000. As you can see, this is a map of Bloemfontein. And what does 1:50,000 mean? It means that 1 centimeter on the map represents 50,000 centimeters on the actual ground. You're probably wondering, what do these lines represent? These lines and these lines, these grid lines. These lines represent the lines of latitude. Let me write them down. Lines of latitude. These lines move from north to south, which means they come from the north, from the upward direction to the downwards direction, which is south. And these lines represent the lines of longitude. These lines that are like this represent lines of longitude. They move from the east to the west. When the lines of latitude meet the lines of longitude, they form grid lines. We use grid lines to reference or find a particular feature on a topographic map. So now that you understand that the topographic map has a title, a line scale, a reference list, I want us to use the reference list in order to find features on the map. So I want us to find the natural freeway or the national routes on the map. let's go to the map. Here it is represented with the blue and red line. Let's see. So this is the national road. It has a blue and a red line. I want us to also look for the perennial river, which is blue on the reference list. So on the map, here's the perennial river. There are three types of symbols which are found on a topographic map. Firstly is the point symbols. Point symbols. And secondly is line symbols. And lastly is polygons. Polygons or area symbols. So let's see how do we find the symbols on the map. Let's go look for point symbols. Let's go to block E3. On block E3 you find a school, which is a point symbol. Let's move on to another block, which is D3. As you can see on block D3, there is a hospital. This is also an example of a point symbol. Let's look for line symbols. Line symbols can be roads, power lines, and etc. Let's go look for power lines. Power lines are found on block A4. Here's an example of a line symbol. And roads are found on block C3. Here's an example of a line symbol. Lastly, we're going to look for polygons, which are area symbols. Area symbols are dams. So on the map, a dam is found on block B2, which is Soot Dam. There are three key features which are found on a topographical map. Firstly is spot heights. Spot heights, which are represented as dots on a map. Secondly is trig beacons. Trig beacons, which are represented as a triangle with a trig beacon number and the height of the trig beacon. Lastly is contour lines. Contour lines. All these features represent heights on the map, which is the elevation of the ground above sea level. When the contour lines are closer together, this means that the gradient of that area is steep. When they are far apart from each other, this means that the gradient of the area is gentle. Let's go see on the map. As you can see that these contour lines are not the same as these contour lines. These contour lines are more closer together, which means that the gradient of this area is steep. These contour lines are far apart from each other. This means that the gradient of this area is gentle. When the gradient of the area is gentle, you can do plantations. As you can see, there's cultivated land, which means there are plants found in that area. Contour lines are represented by faint brown lines on a topographic map, and they measure the gradient of a particular slope or area. area, which has a formula of area is equal to length times breadth. Before we do this calculation, we have to convert this 50,000 centimeters into kilometers or meters. So how many centimeters are there in a kilometer? So 50,000 centimeters divided by 100,000 kilometers is equal to 0.5 kilometer. And to convert into meters, we have to take this 50,000 centimeters and divide it with 100, which is equal to 500 meters. So let's take this demarcated area, which is highlighted by red. Firstly, we have to use a ruler. It has millimeters and centimeters, so I'm going to use the centimeter part. Firstly, I'm going to measure my length. My length is, let's see, my length is 19.5 centimeters. So let's write it down. Length is equal to 19.5 centimeters. Then we're going to measure the breadth. The breadth is 16.3 centimeters. So the breadth is equal to 16.3 centimeters. Now we're going to say area is equal to length times breadth. So we must multiply the length, which is 19.5 centimeters, by 0.5, which is the scale, times 0.5 kilometers. Then you close your brackets, times the breadth 16.3 centimeters, multiplied by 0.5 kilometers. Now let's do the calculations. So we're going to say 19.5 centimeters times 0.5, which is 9.75 kilometers, times 16.3 centimeters times 0.5 kilometers, which is 8.15 kilometers. Then we multiply these two. 8.15 multiplied by 9.75 is equal to 79.46 kilometers squared. So we are done with the kilometer calculation. Now we'll move on to the meters calculation. For the meters calculation, we're going to use the same units that we got for our length and for our breadth. So we're going to say area is equal to length times breadth. So our length that we got from the demarcated area is 19.5 centimeters. So we're going to say 19.5 centimeters. Now we're going to use the 500 meters scale. So we're going to multiply this by a 500. Then we close our brackets. Multiply by the breadth, which is 16.3 centimeters. 16.3 multiplied by the same 500, because we're doing the meters calculation. 500. Then we close our brackets. let's see what our answer is. So it's 19.5 multiplied by 500. It is 9,750 meters multiplied by 16.3 multiplied by 500. It is 8,150 meters. Then we multiply both these answers in order to get our final answer. So our final answer will be 9,750 multiplied by 9,750 multiplied by 8,150, and our answer is 79,462,500 meters squared. This is our final answer. So the area in meters is 79,462,500 meters squared in this area. In our kilometers, it is 79.46 kilometers squared in this area. So now I want us to do another calculation. I want us to find the difference between the spot height in block B3, which is 2,700, and the trig beacon in block A3, which is trig beacon 234. The height of this trig beacon is 1,075.2 meters. So when we're calculating the difference between the two heights, we always take the bigger number and minusing the smaller number. So the spot height found in B3 is 2,700 meters, and the trig beacon found in A3 is 1,075.2 meters. So in order to find the difference, we have to say 2.7 meters minus 1,075.2 meters, which is equal to 1,624.8 meters. Bear in mind that when you're calculating the height, the difference in height, you always measure the height in meters. Advantages of topographic map is that they are color-coded. They have a reference list which makes it easier for them to use. They show height, distance, and can be geo-referenced. All features that appear provide rich information about the area. The whole of South Africa has been represented on a topographic map. Now we'll move on to the disadvantages. The disadvantages is that they do not automatically provide a three-dimensional view of the height. Height clues have to be identified and interpreted. They have a small print, which requires a lot of practice used to become familiar with the detail and symbols. They also are costly. Maps become outdated and have to be replaced with the updated ones. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed our lovely lecture on Mapwork skills. Have a lovely day.